But Kaplan, born and raised there, a little bitty town in South Louisiana, about 5,500 people. And everywhere you go in South Louisiana, every little town's known for something. You know, you got the Gaydon Duck Festival, you got the Abbeville Cattle Festival, you got the Rice Festival right here in Crowley. But Kaplan's mostly known for one thing. They're beautiful people. That wasn't really funny, but I appreciate it. Especially my wife. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, yeah. My wife is so pretty. She's the grand marshal of our family parade every year in the backyard. Every year. But you see, most people know my wife basically by her nickname, which is Christine. But when we got married, I was obligated to call her by her birth name. That's Princess. So our princesses, y'all know, Princess and I have been dating for a long, long time. But you know, Kaplan, it's a good little town. That's why Christine and I met when we were in high school. And I just really wanted to stay with her and that. So I thought about it. I said, well, this is the perfect woman for me. I said, we dated for 11 years before we got engaged and all that. And I said, well, I think that's the one that I want to marry. But I wanted to be a Southern gentleman about it. I got to tell y'all. So I go up to my, at the time, future father-in-law, and I said, I'd like your permission to marry Princess. Well, he says, I knew this day was going to come. I knew it. He says, so I got a couple of questions for you. I said, shoot. What? Not really. I just asked you questions. He said, what's your plans? I said, what you mean? He said, what you do for a living? I said, I'm a lawyer. He said, I can't stand lawyers. I said, I'm joking. I used to be. I'm not anymore. He said, well, what are you? I said, I'm an attorney. He said, oh, that's a lot better. He said, the attorneys are a lot smarter than the lawyers. Okay. He said, but a couple of questions. He says, when you get married, he said, how are you going to put shelter over your heads? I said, well, I really hadn't thought about that, but I'm believing God's going to provide. He said, oh, got me one of these, huh? He said, in food. He says, how are you going to put food on the table to nourish her belly there? I said, well, I really hadn't thought about it, but I'm believing God's going to provide. He said, oh, Lord. I said, exactly. He said, and the most important question, he said, when you have babies, which are going to be my grandbabies, he said, how are you going to put clothes on their back? I said, I really hadn't thought about that, but I'm believing God's going to provide. Well, y'all, he gets mad. He runs out in the kitchen. My future mother-in-law, she said, hey. She said, what you think about that Perry boy, huh? So I said, lawyer. Huh? He says, what do I think? He said, that boy don't know how he's going to put shelter over their heads. That boy don't know how he's going to put food on the table. He said, and above all, that boy don't know how he's going to put clothes in their babies, which are going to be our grandbabies. He said, the only good thing about that Perry boy is he thinks I'm God. But he gave me permission. You know, he gave me permission. He says, I'll be honest with you. He said, if I was her age right now, I'd want to marry you. So, you know, go marry her. Still wonder about that. But so I go and I propose to Princess, huh? And she says, yeah. So, man, I put that big old limestone on her finger, but she was all excited. I mean, she really was. But she said, Jonathan, before we get married and before I jump into anything, she says, I want to go see what else is out there. I said, oh, that's good. I said, go see if there's any scratch-offs because I'm the Powerball. So her and my mother-in-law go to New Orleans to the Husband Shopping Center. Y'all heard about that? Husband Shopping Center. Now, hey, every floor has got a different man, 4 floors. But it's kind of risky because you pick from that floor and leave or you go up. You can't go back down. So you might be losing out. So, man, they go and they're all excited. So he goes and Princess is looking around, but she opens that first door and it says, a man who loves children. Oh, she said, Mama, that's nice. That's nice. She said, let's go. My mother-in-law said, oh, no. She said, I bet you it gets better. Let's go see. So sure enough, man, they go up to the second floor. Well, Princess is there. She opens the door real soft like that. It says, a man who loves children and he don't hunt. Oh, mama. Oh, mama. She said, Vermilion Parish, she don't hunt. Oh, that's nice, mama. That's nice. Let's go. And my mother-in-law says, no. She said, I'm telling you, I bet you it gets better. So sure enough, man, they go up to the 3rd floor, y'all. Princess opens the door real soft. He says, a man who loves children, he don't hunt and he don't fish. She like to pass out. Oh, mama. He don't hunt, he don't fish. I ain't got to mess with the bass boat and all that. Mama, that's good for me, no. My mother-in-law says, no. She said, Princess, I'm telling you, we got one more floor. Let's go see. Maybe he don't play golf, huh? So sure enough, man, they go to the 4th floor. She's kind of nervous, huh? Opens it soft like that. Says, this is just to let you know we can never please you. Thank you for shopping and have a nice day.